think we've all found ourselves in that position where we just feel kind of stuck, uninspired, and just generally uncreative. It's okay. We've all been there. But today, I have you covered. My name is Grace Cotton. This is Gracken Inc. And today, I have 50 ideas for you to get you back into your creative flow. Whether you are a writer, an artist, or just generally a creative person, there is definitely something here for you, so stick around and we'll get started. For your first idea, you are going to try and write a short story in exactly 100 words. You could create a poem, only use song lyrics. The entire poem has to be made up of song lyrics. This is a personal favorite. You can always write a letter to your future self. I love this because it immediately gives you something to write about. Your future self may not remember exactly what you're doing in this moment, and don't you want to tell them? This one's really fun. You can write about your day as if you're describing like an epic myth or legend, very like Greek, Odyssey, ancient texts. I love this. You could even get really creative with it and do it on like a coffee stained paper. This one I think about all the time. If you had 3 wishes, what would you wish for? And like normal genie rules apply. Obviously, you can't bring someone back from the dead, can't wish for more wishes. But if you had 3 wishes, how exactly would you phrase them and what would you wish for? If you were the leader of a city that was cut off from the rest of the world, what would you have the laws be? Like, how would you rule this city hypothetically? What would you implement? What would the infrastructure be like? Would you be a benevolent ruler? Just write it all down. Write out your city plan. You could draw out a self-portrait and never pick up your pencil. I did this in an art class once and I never have really forgotten it just because it's so fun. If you want to double down, try drawing someone else and just look at them, not pick up your pencil, and not look at the piece of paper at all. Or only give yourself one look, one or the other. You ever seen an ugly book cover? Something you could do is try and redesign a book cover you think is ugly. You could either draw it out or you could go into Canva and do it. I think this is fun. And if you really get invested, you could somehow make that into a sleeve and re-sleeve your favorite book. You could illustrate a day in your life as a comic strip. I think this is such a fun idea and really makes you get creative. Also, it can help you realize if you have any consistent routines in your life that maybe you want to change up or maybe you like, but it helps you to identify those things. You could swatch all of your art supplies. This is kind of a daunting task, but I think if you're really bored, just going through and looking through all of your art supplies could be enough to spark some sort of creativity. Kind of in the same vein as this, but also the opposite. After you gather all your art supplies, you could select 3 totally randomly, and then you have to make an art piece with those 3. This can really get the gears turning. When you limit yourself, you often find yourself being more creative, especially with stuff like art or writing, and I think this is a great way to do that. You could design your dream tattoo. I don't really know if I ever want a tattoo, but I have designed several tattoos if I hypothetically change my mind and commit to getting one day. But I just think this is so fun, especially if you're artistically inclined. Drawing your tattoo can be so much fun, even if you don't want one. You could try and remember a dream that you've had and then draw out that dream. It could be really abstract or it could just be literally what you remember about the dream. You could design a font and then import it into one of those websites that will like make your handwriting a font. I think this is really fun, and even though it's creative, it's not high pressure creative. You could draw your dream house or just design it out. And if you're not an artist, you could also make it in The Sims 4 or Minecraft. I think just like laying out your dream house and really letting yourself run wild with it. If you have had unlimited funds, what would you want your dream space to look like? We've all thought about it, but maybe not as in depth as going like drawing it out, drawing in all the furniture, making a Pinterest board for it. It's a really fun creative activity that does offer a bit of escapism, especially if you're feeling down. You could draw yourself in the outfit you are wearing right now or in an outfit that you wish you had. You could design your personal logo, like not a logo for if you're a business owner, don't design your business logo. Just design a logo for you. Like you're the brand. What's your logo? You could invite a friend over and do really fun and creative photo shoots for each other. I love this because me personally, I don't have any pictures of myself and I've really been trying to get better at it. And just having a friend over and doing that service for each other is a great way to get creative and also spend some time with a friend. You could record a voice notes diary. This is really low stakes. Recording a voice notes diary just doesn't really require any sort of prep at all. You could do it in the moment, and I think it's a really great way to just figure out what you're thinking about. You could do photography of your own shadow or just photograph things in different ways. Sometimes things cast really interesting shadows, and I think going and trying to find something that's an interesting shape could really spark some creative energy. You could make a short stop motion video using clay or Lego or action figures. I used to do these as a kid on my 3DS, and I kind of want to do it again as an adult because I feel like they would be so much better now. You could film a time lapse of you cleaning or organizing something you've been meaning to clean and organize forever. You get a chance to kind of kill two birds with one stone. Recreate one of your parents' old photos. Oh my gosh. Bless my mother for taking just some of the most bomb photos ever. I could never live up to the hype. But I have tried to recreate some of these photos, and I just think it's a really fun idea, and you could give it to your parents as a gift. You could design your own business card in Canva. You can actually even get these printed in Canva too. It's only like $16 for 50 of them. I did this myself, obviously for like business reasons and for the career fair. But you could also just do this for kicks. You don't have to get them printed, and just imagine if you had your own personal brand, what would that business card look like? You could make a mood board for your personal brand too. Like if you had a brand kit, what sort of inspiration and pictures would be in it? Really define yourself. I love this idea too, just because I love Pinterest. So another idea is if you picked a brand and then had to design some sort of unconventional marketing campaign for them. Something that's like really out of the box. I know we've seen a lot of those displays recently for brands that have really been punchy, have really been, again, out of the box. And if you had to pick like one of your favorite brands, what would you do for them as an unconventional marketing campaign? Sort of in the same vein, you could also design a social media post for a brand that you love, especially if it's a brand that you think could up their social game. This is a great way to practice your skills if you're into marketing and stuff like that, or social media. And also just have fun with a brand that you love. Really play with their colors, play with what their marketing principles are. I love this idea. You could design packaging. Like if you were to sell something, how would you package it? Or you could design packaging for a brand that already exists. Both I think are good ideas. I know this one's really simple, but you could go on a walk. I mean, it's boring, but let's be real. Going on a walk can solve 90% of your problems. Maybe that's not true. But it can solve a lot of your problems, especially if you're feeling in a rut, whether it's with homework, creatively, or anything. I recommend just going on a quick 20-minute walk, especially if it's warm or like the weather's good outside. Just go on a walk, try it, see if it helps. You could make a playlist describing your current mood. I think this is so fun. I love just making playlists for every little niche specific thing on Spotify. But this is really just something that is easy and it can really get you thinking creatively. You could write down 10 to 20 things that you love about yourself. This will get you thinking creatively for writing, but it also will help you to self-reflect, which I think all creative people try to develop a really strong sense of self through their personal style, personal writing style, anything like that. But identify some things that you love about yourself and what you really think that your strengths are. Create a physical vision board for the month. I love Pinterest. Do not make a Pinterest vision board. I feel like you can get really lost in the scroll and just kind of pick whatever. But if you're making a physical vision board, you have to be really picky about what you put on your board and how you find the things that you want to add. You could rearrange your furniture in your workspace. Something that I always do when I'm feeling like stagnant is to just rearrange my space around me. Even if it's something minor, tweaking it can really just bring new life into a space and make you feel more creative. You could write down some of or your biggest fear and just really look into it. see why it's your biggest fear, and then find one thing that you can do to combat the fear right now. Make a bucket list. This could be for your entire life, or it could be for like the next 5, 10 years, 1 year. Just really prioritize what you want to do with your life. I feel like a lot of people move through life aimlessly, and it can really spark some creative ideas if you really just nail down what you want to do, what's important to you, and what you really want to get done within any span of time. This one's tough, guys. 24 hours with no screens. It's tough. And I didn't realize how hard it would be for me. I don't even know if I could do it right now, but I'm sure it would make you get creative, because if you're not scrolling on TikTok, what are you doing? You could record yourself speaking positive affirmations and then play it back as a podcast at a later date. I think this is a great idea, because who are you going to believe more than yourself? No one. So just record yourself saying some things. Maybe that list we made earlier about things that you like about yourself, your 20 biggest strengths, record it, and then when you're feeling down, you can listen to it later. You could plan a themed dinner party. You don't even have to have the dinner party. I would recommend obviously having it, but just planning it and figuring out like, ooh, what would I serve? What would the theme be? What would I dress like? What would I put on the invitation? I think that could really spark some creative ideas. You could make a playlist for a fictional character that you're a big fan of. I love doing this. Back when I watched Critical Role, I would do this all the time with the characters. I'd be like, ooh, this character. And it really causes you to dig through songs. You might find some new music that you like. I just think this is a great idea. You could design your own trading card game. This is kind of a big one, because I've seen those trading card game dev vlogs where they're inventing their own TCG, and it's a lot of work. If you wanted to do something a little less heavy, you could design your own fake Pokemon. I think that could be fun, especially if you're artsy. You could design a scavenger hunt for a friend or a loved one. This is just so fun. I haven't done a scavenger hunt in forever, and honestly, I wish someone would do this for me. Friends, if you're watching this, please design a scavenger hunt for me. But I think this is just so cool, especially if you have like an anniversary or a birthday coming up for a friend, and then putting little gifts at each stage of the scavenger hunt, I think would be so cool. You could make a fun bullet journal spread. I used to bullet journal a lot. I've kind of moved away from it recently just because I've gotten really busy, but it's always fun to design a bullet journal spread for something like specific going on in your life at that time. You could take a bunch of personality tests. I love this because whenever I take a personality test, I always get really involved in what the personality test says I'm like, which I don't know if that's healthy. I don't take it too much to heart, but in the moment, I get really into it. Especially like the Myers-Briggs personality test. You can take it and then go look up. People do art for the characters, and then maybe you want to do art for yourself in the character colors. I think it's fun. You could remake an old piece of art or writing from when you were younger, or even from just a couple years ago. I've tried to redo some of my old art pieces, and what's really annoying is when it turns out worse than old you could do. But worse is also objective. You could show it to a friend, and maybe they like your new one better. We are our own biggest critics. You could recreate an outfit from movie or pop culture, but just with what you have in your closet. Don't go buy stuff, because that defeats the point of it being like creative. Now you're just spending money. But going and trying to recreate it with what's in your closet can spark some like creative ideas and just really get your brain turning, because maybe a piece that you never would have thought to use in a certain way can be used in that way when you're trying to recreate the outfit. You could try and learn to juggle. This one's hard. I've tried to learn to juggle before, but if you're really bored, you'll try anything. And maybe, who knows, maybe you'll be naturally gifted at it. I'm not, but maybe you'll be. You could drive around town with no particular destination. This is a great way to spark ideas. And I do this actually, like for real, I do this. And put on a good playlist, just drive around. You could get inspired by architecture, people you see, just by thinking, because I feel like when you're driving, like your body's doing something and you're giving your mind a chance to really work through some stuff. So I love that idea. Just drive around, listen to music, no destination in mind. You're wasting gas, but like if you're really stuck, waste that gas. You could also do that on a bike ride. I just realized you could do that on a bike ride too. Plan a surprise for someone. Oh my gosh, a surprise party for no particular reason? That could be so fun. And then you're being creative. You are getting everyone together. Maybe you make a fun invitation for them. Maybe you decorate in a creative, fun way, or you theme it in a fun way, and you get them a fun, creative gift. I love this. And it could be for their birthday, but maybe it's just a surprise for no reason, like a true surprise. Okay, last one. This one is like a little controversial, but I think it would be fun to try and convince a friend of a not true, but completely harmless lie. Just like something that is not true, but like will not hurt them in any way. And obviously, don't do this if your friend like distrusts you and you're not at that level of friendship or something. Also, if you have trouble with compulsive lying, maybe don't do this. I feel like that's counterproductive. But just try. But it can be really fun to try and come up with something that it's just a weird fact that's not true. Like, you could tell them that ducks can't see any color at all. I don't even know if that's true for real, but something along those lines. Well, everyone, that is it. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Subscribe if you want more. And if you don't want to subscribe, just like the video. There's no harm in liking the video. It only helps me and my confidence. And if you have more ideas, comment down below. Thank you so much again for watching. I will see you next time. Goodbye.